We're going to talk about how to add and subtract numbers in scientific notation. When you're adding and subtracting numbers that are already in scientific notation, what's important to remember is that the numbers have to have the same ending. They both have to end with times 10 to the same power. So because these are not in the same format, we can't add them yet. We have to change these numbers so that they end up being to the same power. What that means is that I'm going to change 3.49 times 10 to the second. I'm going to move this decimal over one more, so the number's technically going to be out of scientific notation. It becomes 0.349 times 10, and because I moved this decimal one more place over, times 2 plus 1, which would be times 10 to the third. Now that these are both in 10 to the third power, now I can add these, and I need to do that by lining up the decimal. So 9 plus 0 is 9, 4 plus 0 is 4, 7 plus 3 is 10, and I end up with 10.049 times 10 to the third. That's not good enough though, because this final answer needs to be in scientific notation. And to put this in scientific notation, I'm going to need to bump this decimal over one place so that there's only one number to the left of the decimal. That's going to leave this number 1.0049 times 10, 3 plus this one other, which is times 10 to the fourth power. Let's take a look at a subtraction problem. If I have 5.694 times 10 to the second minus 3.14 times 10 to the negative 1, what I need to do is I need to get both of these numbers into the same power. And in order to do that, I'm going to end up shifting the decimal again. I'm going to change the first decimal again, and it's really up to you which one you happen to change, but this one has more room to maneuver in it, so I'm going to move that one. And I need to get this to 10 to the negative 1 power. So to do that, to 1, 0, negative 1, I'm going to have to move that decimal 3 different times. I'm not going to move it this way. I'm actually going to end up moving it backwards. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, which will be 5.694 times 10 to the negative first power, minus 3.14 times 10 to the negative first power. Now, when I subtract these, it's very important to remember to put those invisible zeros into the equation. I know that you probably already know to do it, but just in case you happen to forget, those invisible zeros are very important. So here's what we're going to do. Can I subtract 0 from 4? No, I can't. So I have to borrow from this 0, which means I have to borrow from this 4. 4 becomes 3, 10, 9, 10. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 1 is 8. 3 minus 3 is 0. Don't forget that decimal point. I'm just going to pull down the rest of the numbers. This is times 10 to the negative 1. And now what I need to do is I need to put these numbers into scientific notation, which means I'm going to need to move this decimal 1, 2, 3 spaces. So I have 5.69086 times 10 to the, well, what's negative 1 plus 3? Negative 1 plus 3 is going to be 2, so it's 5.69086 times 10 to the second power.